Italian. And it really stuck with me. In English, those of you who don't recall it, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And over the last many years, we've seen many, many instances where the practice thereof has been discouraged, prohibited. Just because somebody does something in public, whether it says a prayer or whether they put a Christmas scene or whatever, or whether they say Merry Christmas, that is not establishing a religion. It is just practicing, exercising their privilege to do the activity of praying or expressing. It's right there in the First Amendment. But our courts and other whatever have ignored it, stumbled on, and whatever. So, before I close, there's a few more things I want to. Mason, I'll give you another. Okay, there's a few things here that some of them I'll have to read. So I want to make sure I get the right words. So all this changes about 3 years ago. I said, okay, what's this? Why are all this stuff coming about? And the term politically correct, obviously, has been around a while. So I wanted to understand, and again, being a math and computer guy, I wanted to understand where this political correctness stuff came from. So I did some work. And you guys can do your own research, because I don't want to take much time. Here's what I found. There's about a handful of people working as elite professors at the University of Frankfurt, Germany, in the 1920s. They were all Marxists. They were convinced that the long-term way to implement socialism, Marxism, whatever you want to call it, was not through economic force, not through war, not through whatever, but to change the culture. They were absolutely convinced that that was the way to succeed, change the culture. So they began to work toward that, but then when the Nazis began to take over Germany, they had to flee. All 5 of them, I think 4 or 5, I think it was 5, they were all Jewish by nationality. They were all atheists. They went to one school in the West that had already begun a similar indoctrination or philosophy, whatever, and that was Columbia University in New York City. They spent the next 25, 30 years at Columbia and branched out from there and implemented something called the Institute for Social Research. And a whole bunch of other things came out of that. So now what we have is what we have. So look it up yourself. The Frankfurt School or the Institute for Social Research. Okay. One thing here, let's see where I need some light here. There we go. So in the process of doing that, here's what I found. I don't know how many of you guys know there's a publication called the American Covenant. Very reputable, very patriotic organization. It says, the battle for control and leadership of the world has always been waged most effectively on the idea level. An idea, whether right or wrong, that captures the minds of the nation's youth and will soon work its way into every area of society, especially in our multimedia age. Ideas determine consequences. This has begun, it's going to, anyways, I thought that was an interesting quote. There's 3 more things here I want to talk about and then give the floor to Mason. Some of you people in here probably know of Napoleon Hill. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, he can achieve. I never heard that in school. Never heard any professor or any teacher talk about ideas. Our school system is set to teach you skills. Skills are not enough. They were enough in the industrial age where you went and found work and did this. You needed skills. Skills are no longer sufficient. You need to think. Unfortunately, our school system doesn't teach you to think. Second quote from a friend of mine, named is Rich DeVos. The only thing that stands between a person and what they want in life is the will to try it and the faith to believe it is possible. This is the land of opportunity for anybody that wants to do it. It's not a land of freebies and handouts, though it has become one. It's a land of opportunity for everybody that wants to work for it to get it done. Here's another quote. Recently I met an individual in the Bay Area, a very hotshot engineer. And I would never imagine that an engineer would write a book as this. He's also a naturalized citizen, as I am. He had to run away, basically, from his country several times. And at one point he says, can you imagine the security we felt, the relief that came over us when we caught sight of the first Marines that were evacuated by our forces. This was when I started to admire the U.S. Marines and the United States and decided that one day I wanted to come to America. I wanted to be part of a great nation that even today is the first to come to the aid of others. He eventually got here as a student, got married, has a family, professionally is well respected in his line of work, but he took 4 years of research to write a book, which I have one of the few copies that were initially distributed. It's now available on Amazon. Okay, so after he said, I bought into, this is after he got here, I bought into what I was hearing in the media, watching on television and seeing in movies. I wasn't thinking for myself, nor was I doing my own research. I accepted all I heard and assured that the other side, and assumed that the other side, that is you, the conservative people in America, were either selfish or stupid or evil. I did not realize I was grossly misinformed and misguided until someone challenged me to look at the statistics of what worked, to consider the historical analysis, and to dig for the truth on my own. That book is called Jesus Was and Is Involved in Politics. Why aren't you? Why isn't your pastor? Here's my last statement I want to make. Every one of us needs to take personal responsibility and invest time to get informed. Learn about the issues before casting our vote. Our decision as to who to vote or what to vote for should not be based on the 30-second infomercials, which are all negative, have no facts. Anything short, okay. But on the facts and personal convictions about the issue. Anything short of this will result in the erosion and eventual doing away with the key principles that have made the U.S. a beacon of personal freedom and prosperity for individuals from around the world. Yes, a beacon.